Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
Buy Box Bandits podcast, episode 31. Today we have Nicholas with us, who I've actually known for, I guess, 7 or 8 years, like we were saying.
7 or 8 years,
and
yeah.
Ironically, we met each other in sneaker Facebook groups back then. So you and I have known each other pretty much longer than anyone else that I currently, still talk to internet-wise and everything.
It's an honor.
And we got started, kind of being degenerate shoe flippers, not really making much money, but a little entrepreneurial curiosity that kept us going, kind of stayed in touch even just like 2 years ago, talking about Amazon stuff.
Yep.
And eventually this year kind of clicked with everything. And now you're doing a lot of awesome online arbitrage stuff we're going to talk on, kind of stumbling a little bit with wholesale. So we'll talk about kind of maybe things you can avoid for others who want to get into that and all that. But yeah, thank you for being here with us, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So in terms of, like we already mentioned, you've kind of been reselling, hustling for a while, all different types of different things, but purely in the Amazon space, because that's what we talk about here. Do you want to kind of walk us through how you got started and everything? Because it's been like 2 years or so, and I know stuff didn't really click till recently, kind of in the same way with me, like we talked about in other episodes.
Yeah, definitely. So like you said, I was dabbling with like sneakers and reselling, and I didn't really have like a big breakthrough profit wise up until probably like early 2020. I started taking everything seriously. I was like, okay, wow, like, everything was getting in check, flipping the shoes, making the money, consignment, apps, eBay here and there. And then I believe it was right around early 2020, I found Amazon. I don't know how it was. Maybe it was from you. Might have been through you.
I remember us talking about it, but I was doing books at the time and like kind of working very hard and not making a lot of money because it was hard. And what sucked was like we didn't even consider trying to get ungated. Yeah, Danny and I were talking about this too. Like,
I think I brought that up to you. Yeah, I mean, I got into books. I was dabbling like libraries, free libraries. I'm like, free time. I would pop in an hour or two, and just such a pain, just scanning. The books are 25 cents, 30 cents. And like, I had no idea what I was doing. I made a couple shipments, sold a few $1,000s worth. Didn't really see the profit. It was like so much time. And like, I was like, you know what? I can go to the outlet, make money with sneakers, this and that. Let's leave Amazon aside. So yeah, I kind of like gave it up probably after like a month and a half, 2 months. The initial like process was like overwhelming with like listing, prepping, all that, like making your shipments. As for anybody, I assume even new sellers now.
We talk about that a ton. It's just the learning curve is so front heavy.
It's such a different learning curve. Like, if you list on eBay, you take a picture, list it, pop it up, there you go. But with Amazon, it's like, okay, what are FN SKUs? Like, I remember having to get labels. I was using those 30 up labels in my printer and they weren't coming out right. And like, it was just a nightmare. And I'm like, all right, I would just box it up, send it off and pray it got there. And it was like a huge learning curve and kind of like pushed me away. I was kind of scared by it. I was like, I'm not sure what I'm doing. No way I can scale this. And I remember I did go into the outlet with the Scout IQ app and I found a pair of sneakers and I was like, I popped it open. I was like, I scanned it. I was like, whoa, $40 profit. And this was garbage. I mean, full price, no discounts, nothing. And I was like, wow. And I remember telling my friend Mark, I was like, one day, man, we're going to get ungated somehow in Nike. And
shout
I was like,
Mark. Shout out Mark.
Yeah, shout out Mark. And and like that day, here we are maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, and, finally came. But, that period, I always thought about Amazon and like getting into it. I met somebody at the outlet who was buying extreme bulk sneakers with Amazon or, selling on Amazon. And didn't really help me get ungated. Just kind of, we spoke and I know he's doing big numbers, millions in sales. And I kind of dropped the ball, but then I picked it up probably around June of this year.
Well,
2021. Right. I'm looking at my thing. It's 2022. So probably around June. I had pools laying around from the 2020 pool hype. And this was like, might have been actually like maybe like July, August. Come to think about it, because it was kind of end of the summer. Pools really didn't hit how they were hitting, for like the Facebook marketplace flipping and everything. So I was like, I still have my Amazon Seller Central app. I scanned a pool, and I remember I listed. I had like 40 of them just left over, just tucked away in the basement.
You
And
had 40 pools just that you
Yeah,
forgot
that's
about?
a lot
Yeah.
of
How do you forget
space.
about 40 pools?
No, I didn't forget about them. I had them listed actively on like Facebook Marketplace, and I did buy some like in hopes of them going up like they did in 2020, like that big, pandemic craze where everyone was buying pools. It was
Yeah,
the
of course, yes.
I believe it was the summer waves from Walmart, the 10-foot
Yeah, oh,
inflatables
yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
sold
for
some
like
of those.
for like $50. So I had like a good amount, and I had the big ones. I returned those, and I was like, I'll bring these back. And I had them in the garage, and I was like, you know what? Let me just scan this. I scanned it. I was like, oh, okay. It's like $140. I was like, let's list one. So I MF'd it, merchant fulfilled listed. I went upstairs, and no kidding, by the time I got upstairs to my room, maybe 3 minutes later, it sold. I was like, okay, this can't be. And I have like 39 other ones here. So I was like, okay, let me list 5 more. I listed 5 more. I'm on the computer. 10 minutes later, all sold. I was like, no way. And that just kind of snowballed into what it is now. And I was like, wow, like Amazon's really that platform. And I
Yeah.
had them up on eBay, and I was selling to like Puerto Rico and everything like that. And it was good, but a lot of like shipping issues and nothing like I've seen before. It never snap sold like it really did. And I was undercutting people too, which, don't do that now, but I would undercut
Those
by like
types
a
of high
penny.
volume listings, you totally can.
Yeah. And
It's
especially
gonna
those
happen
seasonal.
eventually. You might as well be the one.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, those seasonal listings, and it's like, I kick myself now, looking back at like, I was listening to like Taylor's podcast. He was shouting out like Jake, and even Danny was saying how he went to, I believe, Miami with his friend and cleaning out Costco's with the chlorine. And
Yep.
I'm like, oh man, I remember walking by Walmart, seeing mounds of chlorine. And I was like, oh, isn't there a shortage? I like just a gold mine that I missed out on. But
Yeah.
better late than never.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm hopping
Yeah.
into it now, and I'm kind of full, I'm all out Amazon, as Garrett would say right now. So it's yeah, I mean, it's going
So
good.
The pool crave is kind of what turned the lever for you? Is it kind of made you take it more seriously?
Yeah,
Opened it up?
yeah. So I was still at this time, up until, I mean, I still do flip like high-end sneakers like I was doing previously, like Jordans and Dunks and whatnot. I was botting for quite some time. So I'm still touching like sneakers like that and consigning and on apps and everything like that. But yeah, the non-sneaker like miscellaneous side is like what really opened up my eyes to Amazon selling.
Yeah,
because
just so much more product to buy, so much
So
more
much more product.
variation.
Yep.
And the difference from where you and I both come from, like Jordans, Yeezys, and all that, there's
Mhm.
such more a scarce amount of supply, like, and just in terms of quantity of like
Yep.
different SKUs and everything to go after.
Yep.
And right when we were doing shoes and everything, no one would talk to each other and help each other out because there was such finite opportunity.
Yep.
But I've pretty much say this every episode, but with Amazon wise, like community's everything,
Everything.
right? Like
Yep.
being tapped in, like being in the group chat, we both found out that we combined spent like 10K on inventory placement by accident last year.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
luckily we'll get that resolved
Yep.
and everything. But right now, as you guys see in the title of this episode, you're doing a ton of stuff with virtual assistants, which is probably a complete 180 from what you were doing shoe wise.
Huge
stuff
180.
and everything.
Yeah.
So tell us about your current setup with online arbitrage and what you have going on.
Yeah. So I was doing RA when I started with the pools, around Halloween time, blow ups like that, seasonal items. RA is just not sustainable and scalable for one. Personally, I feel like, unless you're hiring shoppers. So I kind of moved into the OA because with sneakers also, like that was kind of my aspect. I would clean out, Nike websites, Foot Lockers, this, that, even when I wasn't botting. So yeah, I believe I spoke to Taylor or somebody in our group chat was like, I was like, hey, I'm looking to get a VA. Can anyone point me in the right direction? And people were like, oh, hit up
Taylor's
Taylor,
guy.
hit up Taylor, hit up Taylor. I was like, all right. And I just shot a DM to Taylor, and instantly he like called me on like Instagram, like FaceTime.
Such a good guy. And that's
Yeah.
like, no one would just randomly help
one.
you like that.
And I pick up the call and it's like, yeah, it's like, whatever. It's like noon. I'm like, what's up? And he's just like, so
with
bubbly.
his beard
so-
probably right close to the
yeah.
camera.
He's like so bubbly, so full of life, just like eager to help. And like, I was like, yeah, I'm looking to get into VAs, and I heard you're the guy. He's like, okay, perfect. Like, you're going to call me tonight. We're going to get this set up. And yeah, I mean, of course, I paid him for his time and everything, but he got on a call with me. He showed me the whole process. How do you make a job listing, a posting? And yeah, it went from there. He just gave me like the do's and the don'ts, what to look out for, what not to look out for. I know he said in his podcast episode, he's posting up these listings, these job offerings with a task. Come to me with 2 leads from this website. Come to me with a colored Excel sheet, something like that.
Yeah,
so
to get away from the tire kickers. And
yeah,
for those who haven't listened, it's episode 14 with Taylor Jones on retail arbitrage. Definitely a good listen after this
Did you
one.
just say tire kickers?
yeah, tire
Yeah,
kickers.
you've never heard that?
You never heard
No,
that?
I have not.
I've
heard
even
that.
said it on. I'm nearly positive I've said it in other
It's
podcasts.
people that come to
think
look
so.
at cars and they just kick the tires.
They
Yeah,
just
they're not
kick the
serious.
I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't put that together, but yeah, I definitely know the term.
Oz, you didn't know what that?
But yeah,
Yeah.
what I like about Taylor just helping you randomly, like even if you paid regardless, like all of us as Amazon, people that are putting stuff out, were products of other people that shared that helped get us into it.
Yep.
And with sneakers, right, like botting and stuff, like we naturally kind of just stumbled into that, like one thing
Right.
to do another and everything. It's simple enough that you could figure out on your own to get into it, and you would have to be dumb enough to keep going with it to eventually figure it out. But it's completely different with Amazon because there's so many more people doing it, so much more of a mature group.
It is that's the right word. It's
create an account. Yeah,
it's very like a very mature group of people. That's the perfect word. I see it because with sneakers, there were those people who were 30 years old who were, doing really well, but they were immature in their actions. They were like very like tight knit business. Like, oh, I'm not telling you this. I'm not telling you that. It's like
scarcity. Yeah. And
of
they
course,
have to be for that
you
type
have
of
to be.
market. And with this, it's
strategic. Yeah.
like completely the opposite. I
Right,
mean, we
because-
come here twice a week and give out the best game.
exactly.
On the
Yeah. I mean,
podcasts and stuff.
like you were saying though, like with sneakers, it's like, one wrong thing. I tell somebody the wrong thing. My, loop is burnt, like my income, my, like sneaker terms, but like the way that I'm making that profit off that item is gone. I mean, you see it happen with botting, with this and that, one wrong move, you tell the wrong person, the wrong thing and it's over with. So, but it's nice, it's a completely different platform. And like, yeah, moving in with the virtual assistants, and I'm like fully OA right now. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe 95% of my business is all OA.
Yeah. So you're just purchasing stuff from retail websites and
Retail
basically
websites. Yeah.
your workflow, like we were talking about the other night, is basically you wake up to having, some of your VAs. How many do you have right now?
Yeah. So right now, in the process of getting rid of one and replacing with another. I have an interview right after this, but
All right.
I have like, I juggle between like 7 and 8 usually. I've had 6 for probably like a month now. I mean, they've been paid out like 3 times, so probably like almost 2 months now, month and a half. I've had the same 6 men and women, and yeah, they've been great. Where I just put them all in a group chat as of recently. I was just messaging everybody.
Culture.
Yeah, yeah. I was
culture.
messaging everyone separate, but it got like very tedious because it was like I'm at the point now where I'm going through different websites, and I use Rakuten also to find different websites with,
As
like,
you should. Yeah.
with deals. So like
So slept on as a search engine for reselling. And
Very,
that's the first time I ever thought
very.
about. I'm saying that every single time now, but
Yeah.
literally, right? Because you can go in, it's it's completely free to use. You can go in and you can see all the sites that have the
Everything.
best cash back that day. You can click through and see what deals they offer, and then
Yep.
do this if you're listening and you need leads to buy. And then you can take those parameters off a 10% coupon code, something like that, plug it in as the filter on your TA search to automatically discount 10%. And boom, there you go. You're searching stuff that 99% of people searching on that website aren't getting access to, because you're able to search more profitably because you have that 10% discount or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, prime example, last night, Macy's had like a flash.
I bought stuff
70
on Macy's last night.
It was a
Yep.
it was a sneaker sale, like flash 70% off, or footwear in general. And I just sent a message to my group chat to my 7 VAs. I was
Go to work, go to town.
I was like, hey, if anyone wants to look at Macy's, if you find me over X leads, I'll give you a bonus on top of their hourly pay. And I halfway through the night, it was pretty late. I got through like half of their sheets and they had great deals. I fell asleep. I woke up this morning, those deals were gone. Prices went back up. But I did happen to take advantage of good amount. It was,
yeah. And a lot of sites, like if it's not a holiday, they run them periodically, you know,
they
if you
do.
get on
Yeah.
the email list and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
But, you know, that takes a big portion of my day away. Like I was sourcing manually for probably like 2.5, 3 months.
Which is a great skill to have, probably the best skill to have if you're just an arbitrage seller, which
Yep.
very, very few people have. Everyone's dependent on other people, for which you have to be at the start.
Of
but
course.
becoming self-sufficient, you put yourself at such an advantage over others.
Yeah.
How
And,
has your
go ahead.
how has your revenue increased, like percentage wise, from when you were sourcing manually to now outsourcing it to 6 VAs?
Yes. So I've had my VAs, like I said, for probably like a month and a half now. Kind of with like fulfillment center lags and everything now with Q4. I haven't really been able to reap the benefits of the VAs yet. I haven't seen the profit in like full fledged. But my buying has went up like exponentially.
Do you have any?
Go ahead.
Is there any diversification across those 6, 7 VAs? Like, take us to the progression. So
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my sheet now. I have 3 of them who focus on like specific categories. I have, you know, my 3 heavy hitters, like 2 ladies, 1 guy. They'll come to me, you know, looking for, let's say, footwear, right? They'll spit those out every day, like clockwork. Different websites, you know, the sites that I like. Then I have other people who are like, hey, you know, I'm looking at beauty products. I'm like, okay, great. I don't know anything about beauty, but let me do you, like, do you, you know, I let them do themselves. They're like, you know, I know how to read Keepa charts. I know how to do this, how to do that. I make test buys at first, you know, clueless, like I said, clueless on beauty products. So I made some test buys and it went great. You know, I bought a couple of units here and there. And yeah, I mean, I'm slowly opening up my horizon to different categories, like grocery. I have somebody who's sourcing me like pet products, food, toys. And yeah, I'm just kind of like, I want my 7 or 8 VAs to like probably in like groups of 2 or 3 to have different categories that they constantly hit on: toys, video games, and it just expand my horizons on buying like tenfold.
So
It's like,
So what's the onboarding or training like? So you hire a VA. How do
yeah.
you initiate them into your company?
Right. So I usually, like, you know, like Miles said, I'm going through the tire kickers on the online jobs listing.
PH, yeah.
Yep. Because, you know, you got a lot of people who just have the same automated response. You know, they're sending it out to 40 different
I'm
people.
talking about you. So you hire one, right? So
Yeah,
do you
so
have
I'll do like an
SOPs that
interview.
you run them through? Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing like an interview process. I say, hey, like, you know, we're using these programs like AZ Insight, this and that. I'm giving them access to that. And I'm giving them like the do's and don'ts. You know, if the item is over X amount BSR, don't buy it. If it's, you know, estimated sales is looking like this, don't buy it, this and that. And it's like a never ending game because like I'm 6 months, 7 months into Amazon. I'm learning each and every day. You know what I mean? So it's like if one of my VAs are coming to me with, you know, 4 less leads than expected, you can't really be mad at them because they're learning, you know, they're very new to my company. So like every day it's like, it's more so I'm spending time now critiquing them to perfect my leads rather than them, you know, bringing leads and me saying like, okay, you know, these are good, these are bad, these are good, these are bad. So I'm just kind of like every single day I'm just working on, you know, getting them to like have my mind. That's kind of where it is. They're mini yous essentially. That's where you want them
Right.
to be.
So you mentioned that your VAs they obviously need to know how to read a Keepa chart.
Right.
Is that something is that like a prerequisite, or do you train them on how to read Keepa?
Yeah, no. So I asked like prerequisite wise, like, you know, I say at least understand Keepa charts, know how to read Keepa charts. I asked them more so like, what do you know? Because, you know, like I said, I am new on Amazon. Some of them use Helium 10, they use AZ Insight. Some of them are fluent with like tactical arbitrage. And, you know, come to me, show me your skills. I do like a 3-day test period, 3 to 5 days with new hires. It is paid test period. So I'm like, you know, I let them go run wild. Bring me at least 10 leads per day at your pay rate. And then after the 4 or 5 days, you know, we'll touch base. If I like what they're doing, I bring them on, you know, full time. If not, I'm like, hey, you know, your leads haven't increased. You know, I don't think you're capable of doing what you promised to do, and you move on. It's a lot of trial and error. I mean, I have I've probably blown through in 2 months, maybe like 35 people.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot of people.
a lot.
I mean, that's good though. That means you're
That's
getting down to
Amazon
the
level
good
churn
ones.
rate.
Yeah,
But
it
that's
is
a lot of people.
Yeah, it's hire fast, fire fast.
What do you say when you fire them?
I'm just like, hey,
do you write an email or do you call them?
no, we communicate on WhatsApp.
Okay.
In the Philippines,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
our like
yeah,
number
right.
one. Yeah, so I'm just like, I'm in the process of firing somebody right now. I gave her like 3
As
chances.
he's smirking.
Yeah. I mean, I gave her like 3 days, but at the end of the day, it's business. Like these people are older than me. I'm only 22 years old. They are older than me, so it's like it is kind of it's different. It's weird, speaking to somebody who's like 40 years old and telling them like, hey, I'm sorry, I might have to let you go, but at the end of the day, it's business. I'm just like, your leads aren't up to par. I've given you 4 or 5 days to improve on them after being hired for 2 weeks, and we can no longer continue. You pay them out for the time given, and that's it. I mean, it's business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Most of them don't take it personally. I still have VAs messaging me for like New Year's, Christmas, my old VAs who worked for me for like a week, and they're like, God bless, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. So they don't take it personal. At the end of the day, it's just business. They'll go kick somebody else's tire on another listing and hopefully find their way, But yeah, definitely a big game changer. I mean, I'm spending a lot of more money now.
Yeah, there was this guy in real estate Twitter had a tweet that went super viral and people were so pissed at him. He's talking about how he runs like a big real estate company, has like a whole bunch of like employees in the Philippines, and people were like so pissed about it. But I think, and I don't know the specifics, like the wages we're able to pay for, great work that ends up being opposite our schedule that fills in nicely, totally is a great, service to them. It's work from home and everything, in certain cases, and obviously, and it's just clearly, it shows the way the world's changing, able to take advantage of talent in other places that perfectly fit what we're looking for domestically sourcing products for
No,
Amazon.
of course. I mean, a lot of people like jumping into VAs, you kind of have the idea of like, $2 an hour, $3 an hour, that's criminal, that's cruel. But if you really look at like the exchange rates and everything, they're
It's a
making
different culture over there too.
they're making great money. I mean, I had a conversation with one of my VAs, and I asked her, I was like, what's good, like what's like a good living wage for somebody like, with a degree, college degree, master's, this, that, $2,000 a month, something like that. Like, she's like, that's good money. And to us, that's like, $2,000 is, that is real money, but like,
I think that's below the poverty line in the US.
right. But I mean, $2,000 is
I
not something that you're going to blow off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
Like,
what is the medium in like 45, 55,000 in this
50,
country?
Yeah. Yeah. So like, looking at it that way, like if my one VA is sourcing me, let's say $8,000 in potential profit purchased a month, I would have no problem paying a $2,000 wage, like monthly wage. You know what I mean? For her, like, it's for them, it's amazing money. They think they're working for, I mean, they are working for 7-figure companies in the US. Like to them, they think that we're like Apple, we're Microsoft, we're these big dogs. At the end of the day, we're all sitting at home clicking buttons on the computer, and
I guess just shows the way the world's changing
and making
so
money.
basically-
It is changing. It's crazy.
But there's always going to be people that are upset about it. But like that's just what it is. That's the way the world works.
This dude was getting violated. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. But okay, so you and I were talking about the other night how you recently got burned with some wholesale stuff.
Yeah, man.
Want to walk us through?
So
what
I
went wrong, how you can correct that in the future.
I got my little note sheet here, pile of notes that I make every day. Always taking notes, but I just listened to Wholesale Made Easy. Shout out to Miles. Yeah, Miles told me take a listen to that, and let me tell you, what I did was not easy. They'd be disappointed. I took a different route. So my idea of Wholesale was kind of reaching out to a bunch of redistribution companies. And I never went brand direct, which I think is the issue. I never even attempted to go brand direct. I didn't even think that was a thing. So for probably a couple of weeks, every day I gave myself a couple hours to go online, go on LinkedIn, source, distribution companies, redistributors, and I would make a list and just call. I landed probably like 30 accounts in the span of like a month, opened accounts. And I would sift through them, and it would just be garbage on garbage on garbage on garbage. And it was a waste of my time. I mean, thankfully at this time, I did have my VAs. So that, manual sourcing and everything like that, I didn't have to do. So I could allocate time to this. But yeah, it was just, it's like a nightmare. I mean, I was sourcing all these. I had the idea of Amazon, like, you have to do wholesale, you have to do this. And, we all know that you don't have to, you can make great money doing OA, RA. But yeah, so I ended up finding one company. It was a redistribution company, and they would send like messages on Telegram daily, multiple messages. Actually, two companies. One of them
got to be the first red flag is communication on Telegram.
Yeah. They had like a legit website. I had to put in like, my tax exempt information, everything like that. It was like a legit company. They have a catalog as well, like replenishable catalog. But I was purchasing off of their like daily deals, right? So to my knowledge, that
Nah, keep going, man.
Okay. I know you want to pause. I saw him. He popped out.
Back. You're good.
Maybe we clip it. No, yeah. So I was their daily deals just consisted of random products. I mean, these products were not replenishable, that I know now, because I did try to place a replenishable order on one of them, but it was just daily deals. So first red flag, they were sending the Amazon listing as well. And they're saying, 85% ROI. Like, oh, great, 85% ROI. So I did a couple test buys. I would take their whole quantity of that ASIN that they had. And
you were going very deep.
Very deep. Yep. Basketballs deep, as some may say. But yeah, I mean, I some items I bought, I did a lot of like toys at first. And they moved, they moved well. I took a couple hundred units of like each ASIN. And I remember I took hats as well. Hats was like the first big red flag. Under Armour hats. I took like, I think 800 of them.
Yeah, Under Armour's a tough brand.
Yeah, so I bought them. It looked great. I was making like, buy cost was maybe like $7. I was going to net like $8 a unit. Beautiful, They come in. I sold like 15, 20 of them. And it slowed down. So I'm looking, I'm like, all right. I was like, whoa, there's like 20 other sellers on the listing that just appeared out of nowhere. I was like, okay. I was like, price is dipping. I'm still making a few bucks, whatever. Then Amazon hops on the listing. Undercuts everybody.
Insult to injury when the dip keeps dipping.
Right. And, we're looking at charts. Amazon's in stock at $24.99, they come in $19.99, matching everybody else. I was like, Lord, it's Christmas time coming up. I'll probably blow through it. And in this, in the meantime, I was focusing still on this idea of wholesale. I was like really infatuated with it. And so I started buying more from them. I bought a couple Bissell vacuums. They're expensive, like $300-400 units. Those went great. I was making like $80 a piece net. Beautiful. They flew. I bought like 60-70 units. They flew. And in the meantime, you have one good deal, one bad one, one good one bad one. And then I picked up like 3 bad ones at once. And it was a lot of bad ones. So I bought like 700 bottles of Clorox cleaner, 128 ounces. These aren't small bottles. They're like that big.
Did you pallet ship them or?
Yeah, we LTL'd them. It's pretty pricey. It was,
but this is a lesson in placing test orders, boys and girls.
Yes, this is why we always talk about
always
our viewers listening.
I'm looking back at myself from like.
And if you think about the distribution process of like a Telegram channel and everything, like how many other people are in that group? You know what I mean?
Several hundred. There's probably 700-800 people there. As soon as they post something, you can see how many people view it. 200-300 in the course of like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So just naturally, a lot of people are getting access to that stuff. That comes back to what I was saying about being self-sufficient sourcing wise. I would say that while it's free, like talk about like social media being free, you're the product. And that's a similar case in that, I would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And because that redistributor is targeting Amazon sellers.
Exactly.
What it sounds like. There's some people that do that on Instagram, and I look at what they offer, and it's like a joke.
It's a standard closeout company. A lot of the closeout companies that
it is all closeout. I mean, it's essentially a list of products being sent to 6 other redistributors. It's not just this one company, which I come to know now. But you know, like in that meantime, so I bought the Clorox, spent a couple $1,000s on it, and I was, like I said, it was great. It was like 150% ROI. It was great, you know. It looked beautiful. Amazon was at like $27. Nothing could go wrong. I was making like great money on it. And then in the meantime, they posted another deal. It was 6 packs of soap. I think it was maybe like 1,000 6 packs. A lot of soap.
Also,
Some serious
I
cleaning.
took it all, you know. 3 days after I bought the Clorox.
Did you have to, or why are you buying all this stuff? Because this
Yes,
is like
so-
this is probably like a lot of, how much money is this combined? Like,
Yeah, so I spent probably right under like 30 grand, and like
Were you
Maybe-
not buying away stuff at this time? Like, wasn't
yeah,
this 3
so
months ago?
this was probably like late November, early
kind of a
December.
roller coaster of a few months.
Yeah, so this
I
was
was
like
gonna
right.
say,
This was like two and a half weeks before I got into like my BAs. So you know, still trying to find my place in Amazon. Before this, I was doing RA with outlets and doing a little OA. Then I got really infatuated with the idea of wholesale. Found this company for like a span of probably like end of October through even the beginning of December. Like as of recently, I was still placing orders with them. And then towards the end, like end of November, early December was when I bought these products. So I bought all like, you know, thousands of 6 packs of, it was like 900 6 packs of soap. All this stuff looked beautiful. It all came in and tanked. I mean, Amazon came in on both listings.
You got
Both-
rugged. You got rugged.
rugged, like the NFTs, baby, rugged. I mean, Amazon was in stock at like 27 on the Clorox. I think they're like $19 now. It's like everything. I mean, you're still making a little something on it, but you know, after shipping fees, inventory placement
The
services,
time.
I took, you know, it's gonna be a loss. You know, with the storage fees, especially in Q4, and you know, everything being moved around.
Inventory placement.
Yeah, and the pallet costs and everything. It was a lesson learned. I'm looking back here, like January is gonna be pretty rough. I mean, it was stressful. Luckily, my OA stuff is slowly starting to churn that I did buy mid to end December. You know, it's coming in, it's fulfillment center transferring, whatever's getting listed.
Yeah, BBB prep is getting on it next few
Yep.
weeks.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, it's slowly starting to come in. So the profit went from like this to this,
Got
and now
right.
it's like slowly coming
sir.
back up. I mean,
And sustainably, right? You know that you can do this for a while. This is a
For a
repeatable
while,
system
yep.
that works. And for those of you guys who just got a masterclass on how not to do wholesale, did you
Don't
have
do
to
it.
buy all the quantity, or did you?
so like their minimum order quantity was usually like 50 or 60% of
Oh, so that's a lot,
what I
yeah.
told. So it was a
Yeah.
lot. But
and
like I
this is
said,
closeout stuff, so it isn't
Yep.
replenishable. It's different from the way you do wholesale,
Yep.
Danny, which you want to elaborate a little on.
yeah, I mean, I buy direct from a brand who I was buying from a distributor, but like the way I found or find a lot of my wholesale deals is actually it could be like an OA product, and then I'll go to the brand and I'll say, hey, I want to buy your things at wholesale price and in wholesale
Whip
quantity.
out the Amex.
And if they say no, then I go, okay, who's your distributor? Who can I buy from at wholesale? And then that's really how I found a lot of my wholesale products is doing it that way.
yeah,
now-
you're really digging on stuff. You're going where other people aren't. You're asking questions.
let me ask you now, like Danny, right? I mean, this is probably a question that viewers are going to want to hear. I mean, me personally, so going to these brands direct, like I said, I just listened to Wholesale Made Easy a few hours ago when I was at the gym, you know, earlier this morning. So if I do attempt to tackle wholesale again, I will be going brand direct. But what do you tell them? You know, like Danny, are you saying, hey, like I'm an Amazon seller, or like I'm an e-commerce seller, I'm a, you know, redistributor? Like, how do you go about that?
Well, yeah, you could lie and say you're a redistributor, but I don't recommend that. A lot of brands honestly don't like to sell to Amazon sellers.
I figured so.
However, like just like in business, like money talks. So
Money
if
talks,
you-
right.
If you get in contact with the right person at a brand and you say, hey, also my most successful brand would like denied me for like 6 months, but I kept reaching back out, and then eventually they were like, okay, you have to meet this purchase dollar
Minimum
amount.
order quantity. Yep.
Yeah.
Which
and
was
then-
an
and then-
uncomfortable amount at the time.
Yeah, it was a lot. And then we'll onboard you. So I mean, you could just come in with a number and say, hey, look, I'm willing to spend like X amount of dollars a month. If I don't meet it, kick me off.
Right.
But I
Right.
mean, you got to just keep following up, especially if it's a really profitable brand. Like you just don't let up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
Remember, the
interesting.
people you're dealing with are sales reps on the other side, right?
Yeah,
They're trying to
they're
make
trying to
money.
get
They're
the
likely
bag.
commissioned, right? So the more of a dollar sign that you can provide, the more incentivized they are to pull whatever strings they have to on the back end to talk to
Right.
whoever they need to kind of push you through. And we talk about it all the time. The more of a relationship you can build with that sales rep, the better off you are.
Yeah,
Right.
and there's also a lot of good information in episode 24 with the reselling teacher who does over $1 million in wholesale a year. So if you guys want more wholesale content, definitely go check that out. But yeah, dude, it was good to catch up. It kind of
Yeah.
you and I kind of knew each other, but like partially for like 4 or 5 years there, kind of
Yep.
past. I don't even know if we ever did any deals.
Probably not.
honest. I'm really positive we didn't. I'll look back in our Facebook.
Yeah, my
nights.
close friends group from like sneakers, I don't think I maybe done one deal with like some of my closest friends. It was always like just random people, but
Yeah.
you know, it's nice coming back together. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
sharing a
now,
common
I mean,
interest.
you're
and-
like in our friend group and everything. You know,
Yeah.
we're talking about stuff every day. You're, talking to Taylor and those guys.
No, of
Definitely.
course.
So, what do you see as the future of your Amazon operation?
Yeah, I mean 2022. I don't know. I think, like I said, I'm all out Amazon now, baby. And probably 1.5 to 2 million. He's waving 1.5 to 2 million gross this year.
That's called a dab in the streets. That's
Is
a
it?
dab.
In the streets.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, just scaling, I'm
Garrett
I'm buying
embarrassing himself.
more and more every month. I got an Amex now, so that's, if you don't have an Amex, that's Miles. I believe I reached out to you, Miles. That was
Dude,
like,
yeah, you were so early with the Chase business cards.
yeah, I had the
remember.
Chase
Oh,
business,
dang.
and
Dan,
then
that's an inactive flat card Danny's flexing right
No,
now.
I
it?
used this is actually this one I used.
I think Miles, I reached out to you when I got my Amex. That's when I first got into Amazon. It was
Dude, what a company.
mid 2021, and
Yeah.
you told me I joined your Discord group. That's when I first shout out to the Discord group. But
Nice.
yeah, that was when I first kind of dabbled into Amazon. I was like, hey, dude, like, how do you do you think I can get Amex? Like, I got denied last time. You were like,
You're
apply
out here
for it
with
right
Chase
now.
business cards. Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
is
you were like,
super hard to
apply
get.
for it right now. I guarantee you'll get approved. I applied
you?
for it. And yeah, I was like, no way. I'm like, he called it. And yeah, dude, I'm racking up, 6-figure bills every month now. As of December.
Ooh.
It's
points
nail
are
biting.
nice. The points are nice though, right?
The points are okay.
Well, which
I mean,
card do you have?
I have a gold right now.
Okay.
But
You're missing out on that platinum lounge.
Nah, don't get the
Yeah.
platinum. Don't get the
I
platinum.
get-
I have a platinum, but it's not actually. It's actually
Listen,
it's a gold.
Chase
Which is
Chase
good matchup.
Inc. The Chase Inc. business
So
is
good. So
That-
good.
the points are 1-to-1. I just
Is
cashed
your
out.
limit high?
No, it's not. That's the
Exactly,
problem.
that's the
It's right under 20,000.
Oh, wait.
So-
I mean, that's like obviously not insignificant, but it's not like what you're looking for.
It's not what I'm looking for, but it's still a great card. It's 1-to-1 points. I just cashed out like 1 million points for statement credit. So yeah, I was
That's
racking that up for like
10 bands.
That's like
2021.
10K.
Yeah, 10K. It's
Yeah.
1-to-1. So yeah, the Amex is nice because you can rack up, 6
Huh.
figures, but the points aren't all there. But they're nice. They add up
If
fast
you,
because you're spending
if you
a lot.
redeem it on site, so like I book all my, I haven't paid for a flight in like over a year. I book all my flights with my
Right,
Amex
right.
points on the site, and sometimes there'll be like a 20% discount. So
Oh,
I'll
if you're
actually-
doing it like that, even gift
Yeah.
cards or something like that, but like
yeah, cashing
statement
out the-
credits,
yeah,
it's
cashing-
just not all there.
cashing
but I
out
mean,
the gold points, you lose. I think it's like 10 cents on dollar.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty. Look, it's still free money.
Yeah.
They're
I
giving
mean,
you
yeah,
these.
so-
They're giving you these crazy limits. You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
Yeah.
you're racking up $150,000, $200,000
great
on
company.
on a card. You know
Great
what I mean?
company.
Like,
18,
it-
19, 22-year-olds racking
it
up
would be-
150,000 in
It would
credit.
be it'd be so funny if like if an American Express underwriter saw like who has these huge 6-figure bills. Oh, it'd be
Yep.
hilarious. Like if they
yeah, I
could
mean,
just-
I think you guys were talking about it in a podcast about like Amazon buyers. Like, they don't know that like these kids are prepping this stuff in their
Oh,
garage,
in the kitchen.
in their kitchen. Like,
I always
people are
thought that was
just-
so funny. 'Cause,
people
like,
are just so clueless. Like, I remember I was showing my mom, like, because I just got the Amex and I've been going hard with OA now, and I'm like, look how much I spent the last week. She's like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yikes.
Like how are these kids getting these limits? I mean, kids, I'm 22, but like, you show somebody else this limits, like you're spending more than what people are making
in a
in
year.
in 2 years for some people,
Yeah.
3 years. You know what I mean? So it's
And these
it's
are
really-
monthly statements. It's crazy.
Monthly. Yeah, I mean, it is nail biting, but it is truly a blessing.
And
you know what I mean?
like once you reinvest it, and if you're buying stuff that moves, like after,
it's very, I wouldn't say low risk, but it is very
So
very
you're-
minimal risk.
You're coming from the shoe world, and you mentioned like as soon as you got on Amazon or when you were listing those pools, like you listed one and it sold before you got upstairs.
Snap sold. I sold 40 in like probably an hour.
Yeah. What like for the people that don't know, explain the difference in volume of sales on a website like eBay or like some of the shoe reselling sites versus Amazon.
Yeah. So like a big reselling site, like let's say consignment, right? Like Flight Club, Stadium Goods.
Yeah, most people have no idea about the consignment game, but a lot of these big stores like Flight Club, for example, pretty much the biggest one, they run mostly on consignment, and you are one of their consigners.
Yeah, I mean, it's all consignment with them. I believe now, since GOAT acquired them, they do have their own personal inventory that they sell. But I always thought about it this way. Let's say you have a running shoe and you put that running shoe into Flight Club. There's only a limited amount of people who are going to be going onto Flight Club. My grandma would never go onto Flight Club and never see that running shoe. Like there's so many eyes on that item. Where like, let's say you put that running shoe on Amazon, the amount of people who are going to see that item is, can't even put a number to it.
Hundreds of millions
compared to things.
Customers
it's such a different market. And even eBay, like I know some people who, some older people are still in the mindset of like eBay equals scam. They have that idea of like, if you're buying from eBay, you're probably going to get scammed. Where like Amazon, they're like, oh, customer protection. I was at my UPS. My guy was like, oh, I bought an air conditioning unit on Amazon. It was broken. They send me another one and let me keep it. I was like, yeah. And that guy just got
a poor seller,
got screwed out of one. You know what I mean? But it's like, they really truly built that like base where it's that customer. It's like the customer's number one. It's really customer number one. And, it's the number one platform.
Yeah, wait. Something you mentioned that just bounced the ball in my head because I saw this today. What's good with Amazon sending replacements for things that are broken?
I've had a lot of replacements.
Not getting. Why can't I get back the broken unit? I saw that today. Someone was like the same person got like 3 replacements on different SKUs. I was like, whoa,
I've been getting a ton of replacements.
Me
started that like.
Is there anything we can do to combat it?
No, not really.
Just take that. All right, sell more items.
I think
sell more items.
They're supposed to come back, but I think some people just don't send it.
Do you guys use inventory or like the lost inventory services at all?
The refunds manager?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm using
that up this
I've been using that. They've saved me, I think like $300 so far. So, and they take a percentage. It just auto charges to my credit card. Yeah. Look, it's money that I would never even know I lost.
How does that work? Do they get Amazon to initiate that payment or like?
Yeah. So I actually looked into it. So they open up cases and they literally like, I'm like afraid my account's going to be like shut down. They're like, look what I sent you. Like, you clearly did not reimburse me for this payment. Like, like you have not reimbursed this account. Like they are like very like
cutthroat
with their business. And like, I mean, they're opening up cases. Sometimes they'll open up a case where I have to take action and upload an invoice to get reimbursed. If it was like, for example, I had a whole box of items go missing. It's like a $3,000 box. And refunds manager messaged me on, I think it was like through my Gmail or whatever. It was like, hey, reply to this case, upload the invoice. I did, got my payout. They reimbursed me and they took the percentage because I think it was like 2 months where like, I didn't even know that box was, I don't really track shipments to par when you're sending that much stuff out. So like, I'd probably do my quarterly just kind of like review, but
go through.
Realistically, I probably would have never seen that box.
It honestly does even out. Like sometimes they'll screw up huge, but like they randomly will give you extra units and stuff. Yeah,
it all evens out. But yeah, I mean, it's a great program. And I think it's like 20-30% they take. It's hefty, but like at the end of the day,
it's money you wouldn't have had otherwise.
You wouldn't even know that stuff was missing. So yeah, definitely a clutch for new sellers too.
Are we gonna? We don't really have any socials to plug for you. Are you gonna?
No socials, man. Yeah, I started a Twitter.
Twitter.
Nice.
Yeah. I think
what's your Twitter handle?
Twitter is like the closest thing I've seen to like back in the day TSN.
Yeah.
Like is Band LA still going?
Yeah, Bandit is going strong, dude.
That's
They
like
branded
nothing. So that was what TSN became, but TSN was all the young cats. Like they was owned by like, younger guys and everything.
The young 15-year-olds with like Gucci belts and making a couple
Dude, and Red
$1,000 with
Octobers
sneakers
right
and
when
Red
they
October.
came out. I mean, this was crazy. Like this was like, dude, I used to look at the kids who had Yeezys back, like 2015 Nike Yeezys, like gods, and it was only $1,000.
Look, I mean, realistically, me and you probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for sneakers. So
clearly not.
I give everything. Like
the dude who added me to TSN scammed me out of like $500 the next
really,
week, but he added me to TSN, and that I'm forever grateful.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I'm forever grateful getting into this. You know what I mean? I'm 22 years old. I'm doing,
lucky, man.
I'm doing my master's online. Like I'm financially free at the age of 22, to the point where like if something hits the fan, I could pick something right back up. But yeah,
and
I mean,
the skills you build, the network you build.
That's all it is. It's a network. You know what I mean? Like I've met so many great people. Miles, now Danny, Garrett. You know what I mean? It's a never ending community. And it's like I look back like 6 months ago where I was, and like it's like night and day. I think you guys said it in the wrapping up. I think the 2021, like, I'm going to look at the end of 2022 and be like, wow, 2021 was a joke. You know what I mean? Like so many plans. I mean, it growing exponentially, and I'm excited to see what
year over year. I think I'm always like looking back. I'm like, wow, like the beginning of the last year, I was like nowhere. Now here,
dude, it's crazy. You and Danny had a book warehouse like under 2 years ago. Under 2 years ago.
Really?
Just barely,
2 years ago, like
regardless.
almost to the day, actually.
Yeah.
How long have you been on Amazon? All three of you? Like,
so Danny and I started in fall 2019. So right when you and I talked the first time about it.
Right. And Danny just kind of took off with it, though. He ran more.
Did you know Danny and I went to high school together?
I heard that in a podcast. I didn't know that.
So that's where it came from.
One of the only guests who actually listens to our podcast. This is great.
I've been binging it, bro.
There's great
at the gym.
Here to like other episodes. It's amazing.
Yeah. And Garrett, what about you, Garrett? How long?
Early 2020.
Okay. Sorry to cut you off, Danny. What'd you say?
So Miles and I went to high school together, and so like real quick, I'll say it. So I was like I was in college, and I was doing like a bunch of different stuff to make money, and I saw Miles posted a screenshot, and it was like $10,000.
So I must have reposted from the person.
It was on your IG, and I know I didn't follow the Flips for Miles IG, so I got hit with it organically, and I was like, "There's no way."
Content, baby.
I was like, "There's no way this kid from high school I know, who's like."
What? Bozo.
No offense.
Bozo.
This kid's not like a genius. Like, there's no way I thought he made 10K in a month in college. I was like, so I went all in like that night. Like I bought the book,
ordered the scanner on the Discover student card.
What did you get? Like a yo-yo scanner?
Yeah, I got the yo-yo.
Yep. Shout out to them.
Got Scout IQ.
Nice.
Like I remember like scanning
Didn't you take a bus to the book sales or something?
No.
Or am I wilding on that? Okay.
I would rent. There was like
I
ran like a car, but that was different.
Were you guys in the same class year?
No.
The
only conversation I remember with Danny was
no. I knew. No, I spoke to him. I knew him. I just wasn't
not extensively. Yeah, we definitely knew each other.
His father was my English teacher.
What graduating years, if you don't mind me asking?
So
2018.
Yeah, and then me and you were 2017.
Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah,
that's an old head. 2014.
That's not that old.
High school, 2014.
Get out of here.
That's a minute.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, but think about it. But look at it now. Years later, like crazy.
It's like few people still doing, because we and you technically are doing the exact same thing we were back in the day. Just buying and selling, buy low, sell high, all that.
Yep.
It's different mediums.
But it's just so it's like such a different, like it's so scalable. That's a beautiful thing about it. It's like you can hire family, you can hire this, that, you can really put a lot of people in your life financially free from your Amazon business. And I think that's a big thing, not just yourself. I know people hiring moms, dads, sisters, cousins. You know what I mean? It's beautiful, man. I can't see where it's going to take us in 5 years. I don't think it's going to be around for that long unless you're doing private label or maybe wholesale.
We should probably do a whole episode about that. That's regardless, thing, like stack away bread, all that, like while it's here, take full advantage.
It's here. Like I think you said, like I said, going back to the old episodes, got to burn the shit, man. Go all out with it and take advantage while it's here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really, it's fresh. It's here. It's might not be here to stay, but take advantage while it's here. You know what I mean?
And we like to congratulate our editor on the birth of his
congrats.
first child, which is
Congrats,
amazing.
Dennis.
Congratulations.
So
Dennis.
those are the
Congratulations.
few of you still here this late in the episode. Make sure to give Dennis some love for that. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Nick,
Yep,
for
thank you
coming
for having
on.
me. Yes,
Oh, wait,
sir.
Nick,
definitely.
what's your Twitter handle?
Oh yeah. So Twitter handle is at hype HYPE movement MOVEMENTS.
Hype
So
movement.
movement.
Hype
Yeah,
movement.
movements. Yeah, because
Movement,
my
okay.
yeah, my LLC is hype movement LTD.
Followed by
so-
Rodriguez. You know Rodriguez?
Yeah, I mean now through like
He's
the
in
group
the
chat and
chat,
everything.
yeah.
Yep.
Chat.
All right.
I literally
followed you.
just made it like just being active with it. So
All right, cool. Well, yeah.
Good
I'll
stuff,
follow
man.
everyone
Thank you
back.
for coming on. Yeah,
Thank you
we'll
for
see
having
you
me.
guys on Tuesday's episode.
Yep.